Hello, this is Hooked by Happenstance, and I'm Kendra, and it is Sunday again. And I will just warn you now, I have a headache, and I'm not feeling great, so my energy level is very, low, because if it's any higher, it begins to hurt. So, it is Sunday, as I mentioned, which means it is time for another Sunday Sunrise. My Sunday Sunrise is my solution to New Year's resolutions, where rather than making a bunch of goals at the beginning of the year in January to hopefully tide me over for the year, I instead come up with new goals every Sunday that are a bit more manageable and more in keeping with what's going on at any given time in my life. So we will begin by looking at last week's short list of goals, and then we'll move on to this week's. So, last week I had four goals, and I checked 3 of them off. So, the first thing was to pre-film some videos for the channel here, which I have done. That is because I'm shortly going to be remodeling my office, so I'm in the process of cleaning it up and emptying it out, which means that I will not have access to the things I need to film videos. So, I have filmed some of those in advance. The next thing on the list was to sew 14 bags for my Etsy shop. I did not sew a single thing for my Etsy shop this week. At all. Because I kind of blocked my sewing machine in with my cleaning process of organization and stuff in here. And then I spent most of my week busy doing other household projects in other rooms of our house. And I ended up repainting our porch and stuff too this week. So I've been very busy doing crafty things, just not the crafty things I thought they'd be. So, there was 0 sewing. The third thing on my list was start packing up my office, which I did, which is why my sewing machine was blocked off behind boxes of things, and that was just what happened. But I did start packing things up and going through things, and I'm making decent progress. And we're making progress in the other areas of the house. It's kind of he's saying it's lining up dominoes and then we're toppling them over. So, we have to get certain things done to move things from one place to another, and you know how that all goes. So before the things from my office can go to, some of them to a new home where they're going to stay forever, and some of them to a temporary home where they're going to stay till my office is ready for them again, I have to remove the things that are currently in those spaces, which are planned to move to their permanent homes, and it's a process, people. So I have done that. And the fourth thing on my list for last week was to work on my Tides of Change, my Cogitation, and my Granny Virus as my projects to focus on, which I did. My Tides of Change is actually completed. As far as the stitching, I still have ends to weave in, but I'm done with all the crocheting. I did not touch my Cogitation because I've not had time and energy to sit down and do anything that involved design work and writing out things, but I can follow a pattern. I just can't brain very well right now. And the third thing was my Granny Virus, and I worked on that when I was in the car. Actually, I didn't do a lot of car crochet this week, even though we were in the car a decent amount. I was just hanging out with my hubby while I did that. And then I did work on it some yesterday, though. We went to a concert in the park thing, and during that I was working on it. So I made some progress. So anyways, that brings us to this week's list. Again, small paper, big marker, can't put too many things on it, but kind of tried to cover the different areas of my crafty life. So the first thing on here is that I want to start packing up my office even further. I have some things in here that I need to basically unpack from the way that they're currently boxed so that I can repack them in a way that's more efficient and better suited for when I want to put things away. Because I'm also, I think I've mentioned before, kind of trying to gauge what kind of organizational space I need in the new office, and I will not know that till I've fully accounted for what I have in the current one. So kind of putting items together and that sort of thing. The second thing is the projects that I want to work on. The first one is the Sands of Change, because yes, as soon as I finished one Afghan, I started another new one, which I am thoroughly enjoying. I'm already 30 some rows into a 30 rounds into a 70 round pattern, so I'm making pretty good progress, and I started that one yesterday, day before. It has not been going for very long. And then again, my take around project is going to continue my Granny Virus until it's done, and then it'll be replaced by something else. The third thing on my list is that I need to start weaving in some ends. The Tides of Change is done, but it's not finished because it needs to have all the ends woven in before I can give it to my nephew. So I'm just going to say weave some ends. That means I could just sit down and weave in 2, and that will have been, you know, sufficient. Hopefully I'll be more than that, but I'm just going to leave it at some. That way I don't feel bad if my week gets away from me and I don't get a lot of that done. And the fourth thing on here is to post 3 videos, which I think should be doable because I will be posting, this one counts as 1. There'll be a podcast tomorrow, and then I have already filmed some of my flasher stash, like my going through my my yarn stash, so at least one of those could go up, and maybe something else, but that'll be 3 for sure. 4 would be nice, but 3 for sure. So that is my list. Sorry, it's very low energy, but that's just the way it is sometimes. So maybe it would be a good idea to take a look at your list of things this week and find, kind of like saying, weave some ends. Find something on your list that maybe you're trying to tackle too much, or you just want to know that you'll feel okay about what you do accomplish. So use particular wording that will help you to be successful. I could say weave 15 ends, and what if I only weave 14? Am I going to feel like a failure? Probably, at least kind of. But if I say weave some is just more than nothing. So find a way to word your list so that you can be successful but are still making progress. That's my tip for you for today, and I will see you all next time. Bye!